April 2025, Bangalore is staring at another water scarcity problem. Do you think 2025 is a repeat of 2024 when it comes to Bangalore?
The entire city is not struggling, pockets are struggling, and those who are struggling very badly. There's enough and more water for everybody.
Okay.
The question is, it's not reaching everybody.
Is there any similar problem happening?
Every river which flows between two states has a dispute. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट पे तो झगड़ रहे हैं अभी. कोई भगवान की भी वर्डिक्ट इसको बचा नहीं सकती है. This is a poison pill which we can't consume in one go, right? So there's some sacrifice to be made by farmers for sure, but not all sacrifice has to be made by them, right? This race to the bottom without capturing the true value for water is harmful to the user also. We're caught in a trap of our own making, and success has been the major cause of our failure.
ठीक है सर, चलो अब बैंगलोर के बाहर चलते हैं.
हाँ जल्दी.
व्हाट इज हर साल प्रोटेस्ट होते हैं, कर्नाटका, तमिलनाडु, कुछ कुछ होता है. अगेन यू माइट से इट्स सोशल मीडिया, बट वी कीप रीडिंग अबाउट इट, राइट? सो इट्स एन एज ओल्ड डिस्प्यूट. आई वांट टू नो व्हाट हैपेंड पहले. आर वी ऑन द राइट ट्रैक टू सॉल्विंग इट, या फिर ये अभी?
So it's an intractable problem which will be a low-level simmering dispute in years of short rainfall in the Kaveri Basin. Here's why. The river itself is overexploited. It doesn't reach the sea at all. Okay. It reaches the sea only during heavy rainfall, years of flood for a short time, right? What's happened is that previously the waters were used for agriculture purpose. The delta is the richest and most fertile point of a river. So Tamil Nadu, we used to use the water for a long time and grow rice cultivation. But as we increased in population and as we urbanized, the shift in demand was from agricultural use to urban use. Bangalore came up and started to grow and become just 14.5 million, right?
But you said a small part of it is coming to Bangalore, right? Of the Kaveri water.
I'm just giving you an example. So urban has two consequences. One, it increases the consumption, not substantially as compared to agriculture, but it puts a demand on agriculture intensity also increasing, right? It does that, and it sends polluted water into the river. So broadly, what happened was that the demand started shifting upstream. So Karnataka started to say, "Ki we will also use the water." Now there's a limited volume of water, so the dispute is there, right? So in years of plenty, we don't have a dispute. In years of shortage, we have a dispute. And the dispute is purely because we are overgrowing paddy, both in Karnataka, especially in Tamil Nadu. And that's become a problem. It's got a historical reason also. When the Green Revolution came, the variety of paddy, which is hybrid, was introduced into the Kaveri Delta. So we started growing a third crop. So this became unseasonal. What we would plant in August, we started to plant in June. June, the waters of the Kaveri have still not come. So you're now putting a demand on the system which is beyond its capacity to cater. So therefore, there is going to be
There was a stat I read. How much water we need for 1 kg for growing 1 kg of rice?
3,000 liters.
3,000 liters water is needed
for
growing 1 kg of rice. Today, how much water can Karnataka use? Is there a formula?
Yes, there's a formula which the Supreme Court has approved. So Karnataka gets 284.75 TMC feet.
Which is what percentage of the total available?
So it's 38% roughly. Okay. Right? So Tamil Nadu gets 404 TMC feet. Kerala gets about 50 TMC feet, and Pondicherry gets about 10 TMC feet, and some 10 TMC feet is allowed to go to the sea, right? So that's in a 50th year probability rainfall. We should now plan to live within those means. But also, the dispute resolution said ki this is the amount of water you have to release on a week-to-week basis. That was a judicial overreach, in my opinion, in hindsight. When the dams of Karnataka are not full, to expect them to start to release water, not knowing what will happen to the monsoon, is not likely to happen. You may wish that it's the law, but it's not likely to happen. So that's caused the problem. And the lower riparian state always feels that it is wronged by the upper riparian state.
Upper?
Riparian state, the upper user of water.
Okay.
Yeah, so they say कि आप लोग पकड़ के रख लेते हो, जब चाहे छोड़ देते हो, जब हमको चाहिए तो आप छोड़.
It's fair on their part.
सही बात है. But what they don't realize is they have to do more with the waters that falls on them. So that not all the waters of the river Kaveri are all coming from Karnataka. There's a lot of tributaries of Kaveri in Tamil Nadu, and they're not doing a great job of it. They're putting all their industrial effluents to it, sewage into it, and making a mess of it. Sand mining कर रहे हो, आप river को destroy कर रहे हो, और आप हर बार blame कर्नाटका को दोगे, तो वो भी बात नहीं बनती है ना. Karnataka has to be a responsible user of the river water and make sure that there's not too much distress to the farmers of Tamil Nadu. It can't say, I'll keep all the waters for myself and only when I have a surplus, I'll release it to you. No, the distress has to be shared reasonably equitably. But the downstream state also has to become responsible for the river and make sure that the river is clean. Right now, we are fighting about the waters of the river, but we should turn our fight into the river itself. How do we make sure that the river has clean water, that the river flows continuously? How do we make sure that the forests catchment areas are protected so that the water of the river is clean? उसके ऊपर तो झगड़ा नहीं होता है कि आपने कम फॉरेस्ट को प्रोटेक्ट किया, हम ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं, ये तो झगड़ा नहीं कर रहे. पानी के ऊपर झगड़ा कर रहे हैं.
Are we moving in the right direction? Are state governments of both the states?
No, we're not moving in the right direction because there is no right direction. Once we have created linguistic and administrative states, which divide a river into simply waters, this is a low-level equilibrium trap. ये हम झगड़ते रहेंगे.
नहीं तो तभी तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट आता है ना. Like it's not about तमिलनाडु और कर्नाटका.
तो
It's about
हम तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट पे तो झगड़ रहे हैं अभी. कोई भगवान की भी वर्डिक्ट इसको बचा नहीं सकती है, क्योंकि in the years of average rain and surplus, no problem. In the year of distress rain, problems will be there. झगड़ा होगा ही.
तो सोल्यूशन है नहीं.
ये सोल्यूशन ही मियाँ बीवी वाला रिश्ता है. कभी झगड़ा होगा, कभी प्यार होगा, चलता रहेगा. बट ये एक दूसरे के खून के पीछे न दौड़े, रायट्स न करे, एक दूसरे को न मारे, बस वो ठीक रहेगा.
Is there any similar problem happening in other parts of the country?
Every river which flows between two states has a dispute. The Krishna has a dispute between Andhra, Karnataka, Maharashtra. Every river has a dispute.
Okay, let's go to North India.
Haan.
So your thoughts on Yamuna?
So one of the Yamuna is again a crisis of the inability to capture the true value of water. Industrial pollution is the root cause of Yamuna's degradation. The second is domestic sewage pollution. If we are able to
treat the water,
collect all the water and treat it, and only release it in the condition in which the environment is able to take it, we don't have a problem. But everybody externalizes their pollution and doesn't want to set up the effluent treatment plant or the sewage treatment plant and pay the monies for it to run effectively.
It's also a multi-state problem.
It's also a multi-state problem because the flows of the Yamuna are controlled more or less by Haryana.
Yeah, but it is doable, or have we reached a point where...
नहीं, वो भी solve होगा, but it will not be an immediate solution, and we will have to get to the citizens paying the true price for water.
Do you think if the same party has control of all the states, does that make things easier?
The parties will fight each other. The party will find that it's under pressure now, and there will be internal divisions in the party already. So the party cannot the same party cannot paper over the differences between states.
But you're saying the solution is this. Paying true price of water is the solution.
Bilkul. If the farmers are getting water for free, groundwater is free. Not only is groundwater free, but it's subsidized by electricity being given free. This race to the bottom without capturing the true value for water is harmful to the user also.
So ultimately, there are two sources of pollution for Yamuna, which is one is industrial waste
and domestic sewage,
which is untreated, goes into Yamuna.
हाँ.
तो सर 5 साल से 10 साल से जो आम आदमी पार्टी बोली थी हम यमुना साफ करेंगे, उससे पहले कांग्रेस थी, अभी बीजेपी है. So I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but are things not happening at all?
नहीं, कुछ हो रहा है. Sewage treatment plants are getting implemented. They're getting bigger. But see, one of the things that is a challenge for Indian cities is the huge influx of people into cities. Bangalore is growing.
But that's not going to stop. It just...
So there is the difficulty that you can't keep pace with this flood of migrants who are coming in. It takes time before you're able to set in place capital projects to be able to cater to all of them. So what we'll be doing is playing catch up till we reach more or less a steady state of population. Once we reach that, then we're able to set in place systems which will clean up the whole thing. Otherwise, we are playing catch up. And we're playing catch up with our, like I said, one hand tied behind the back. We don't have the monies which are getting invested correctly. You see what's happening with the Ganga also, right? It's taken 10 years for it to reach some state of cleanliness with all the sewage treatment plants. Now, the bigger challenge is to run these sewage treatment plants and make sure that they keep treating it well, and then to set up newer and newer ones so that all the sewage which is going to the Ganga is getting cleaned up. So it is possible to do it, but it's a long-term project.
But 10 साल में फर्क हुआ है.
जरूर फर्क हुआ है. जरूर फर्क.
So basically urbanization problem है. People moving from...
बिल्कुल. As a country urbanizes, as it develops, it urbanizes. What we have seen is that most developed countries stop at an urbanization of 80 to 85%.
What is the meaning of that?
85% of
the
people
population lives in
urban areas.
Okay.
15% are rural and farming.
अभी हम कहाँ पे हैं?
हम तो 50 भी नहीं पहुंचे हैं. 40 के इर्द गिर्द हैं.
But does it really need to happen?
It's an inevitable,
for aggregate
it's an inevitable consequences of the model of economic development that we have. If you are wanting to grow at 7 and 8% GDP, that growth of GDP cannot come from agriculture. It will have to come from urban areas as economic growth, manufacturing or services. It can't come from agriculture. You can't have land fragmented to small units and parcels which are no longer viable for it to be economically productive for the landowner himself. So I'm not saying that I'm a supporter of that, but this is the inevitable consequence of this economic model. And we don't have other economic models.
Sir, I'm from Punjab. How serious is Punjab's water ground level problem?
Punjab is a classic case of too much success with the Green Revolution, which then caused the problem of water and pesticides and the cancer trains which run to Rajasthan.
Can we go into detail?
So, क्या हुआ कि Green Revolution आया and the high yielding variety of wheat came. And high yielding variety of wheat, we never thought demanded a lot of water. It demanded fertilizer and pesticides, and it proved the growth could improve and be good enough. But all the water came from groundwater. We unleashed a groundwater revolution which we never were in control of. And suddenly, Punjab was providing wheat to the whole of India.
So 1970s.
60s, the late 60s, it starts with the Green Revolution and then continues in the 70s and 80s, and it expands. And so as they expand, they start to use the resources terrifically. And now you're hooked to that. Now you have a PDS system, a minimum support price, which then keeps you growing wheat. And if you want to change the law, then the farmers protest because there's no other alternative. और उनकी भी गलती नहीं है. तो we're caught in a trap of our own making, and success has been the major cause of our failure. The success of the Green Revolution has become the failure of society and what's happened with the environment.
Unless there are protests तो हर time चल रहे हैं अभी वहाँ पे. It's not as big to make it to social media right now, but चलता रहता है वहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ. So it's a cycle, as you mentioned, right? We keep growing the same things because MSP उस पे है, जिसके लिए ज़्यादा पानी चाहिए, जिसके लिए पानी नीचे जा रहा है. And there are reports which say 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. अगर ऐसी चलता रहा तो it will be a desert.
Correct.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when the government tries to bring in farm laws, farmers themselves protest.
Correct.
And then we take it back.
Correct.
Which is benefiting nobody.
Correct.
So
So the farm laws themselves have to be done in consultation with the farmers. This is a poison pill which we can't consume in one go, right? So there's some sacrifice to be made by farmers for sure, but not all sacrifice has to be made by them, right? And so we have to work out a system by which their concerns are assuaged, that they're given compensation for the shift that they have to do now. We were calling them heroes, right? Lal Bahadur Shastri ke time pe, or sabhi time pe hum log bata rahe the ki Punjab is feeding the rest of India. Now you have to appreciate that. You have to take into consideration that. And then we have to craft a movement away from these water-intensive crops, which protects the livelihood of the farmers and makes us go towards horticulture, for example, or other crops which consume less water and less fertilizers and pesticides. That is to be thought through as a 15-20-year scale model. You can't play hero with a farm law and say, okay, I'm going to change everything instantly. वो नहीं होगा.
So, see, they will ultimately, the laws will also mature, right? 5 saal, 10 saal, there will be different things that will come in, feedback that will come in. But as it stands today, are the laws, in theory, good?
It's a difficult question to answer. So it's good for the eventual goal of taking away power of the APMC, right? And to make it a free market good so that you grow what the market is willing to consume, right? So,
which is a good concept.
Absolutely. It's a good concept. But after you feed a child and keep the child on a particular diet, and then you, like, it's like us wanting to shift to an organic diet. Wheat rice खा रहे हो, बोल रहे हो कि रागी खाओ या मिलेट खाओ, कहने के लिए तो ठीक है, लेकिन to make that shift becomes very right. So you have to figure out what the compensation will be for the loss of income that any farmer will face as a consequence of this. And then you have to make sure that that protection is given for at least 3 to 5 years.
But वो नहीं है क्या अभी? There is
Hmm.
subsidy given on if you choose to have these 10-15 bundle of crops अगर आप लगाते हो तो उसमें सब्सिडी है.
तो वो अभी प्रूव नहीं हुआ है कि आपको वो क्रॉप का इतना रेम्यूनरेटिव प्राइस मिलेगा, या एमएसपी में या पीडीएस में आप खरीदोगे जितना आप प्रॉमिस करते हो कि उतना खरीदोगे, और मेरे पे वो वजन नहीं आएगा, राइट?
So the concerns of the farmers are also valid.
Absolutely. These are
And the monopolization through the biggest corporations coming and making cold storages and then dictating what the price are is the main concern, right? कि अगर ये सिस्टम ही खत्म हो जाएगा MSP का या जो भी restrictions रहे तो then there'll be 2 or 3 companies in India
हाँ.
which will set up everything and then they will control the price, so it will not become a free market.
That's also a genuine concern.
Hmm.
So it's a wicked problem, what they call a complex problem. And it has to be unbundled in a fashion by which the concerns of the major client, who are the farmers, are always taken into consideration.
और अभी it's in a limbo, it's at a standstill. कुछ नहीं हो रहा है या कुछ हो रहा है अभी?
कुछ नहीं हो रहा है.
Nothing is happening. And we are still depleting groundwater and it's...
हाँ, थोड़ा बहुत बदलाव आ रहा है. देखो क्या हुआ, in step by step, these things happen step by step. So what happened is once the green revolution started, the wheat started, there's a surprising study which was commissioned by the then planning commission कि क्या हो रहा है in terms of voting patterns in these areas. They found that the Communist Party was getting more votes than the Congress in many of these places where the green revolution was being tried. So at those time, those were the two parties which were there, including Telangana, including Kerala, including Tamil Nadu, and Ludhiana, where the Communist Party was getting fought more or less close to the Congress, which is the ruling party. And so the study said that what's happened with the green revolution is that the richer farmers are benefiting from it, and the medium farmers and the small and marginal farmers and the landless are feeling left out. The rich are getting richer and these are getting left out. And one of the reasons was that if you had 10 acres of land or more, you would get a loan for a borewell. And the borewell was actually making the difference for the productivity of the farm, right? Now, so they said, kuch to karna padega, because they didn't want the political damage to it. So they started giving loans to every farmer for a borewell with the district cooperative banks and others. Ab you unleashed the genie out of the bottle, right? And the next thing that they demanded, because now they became powerful as a political lobby, was electricity free. Free electricity. तो आपने free electricity दे दिया, 10 HP, 15 HP तक free दे दिया. पहले 2 HP से शुरू किया, 10, 15, 20 तक चला गया free electricity. अब where is the limit now? So you're getting free electricity, you're getting free groundwater. Then you started getting subsidized fertilizer. Urea became subsidized. And then you got a PDS and an MSP which started to buy the product at the scale. Now you're caught in that vicious loop, right? If you have to make it into a virtuous loop, you have to think out of the box and find solutions which will wean away farmers from that cycle. If you keep only giving pious messages, that doesn't work.
Seems like a place where nobody's going anywhere right now, right?
Yeah, it's not.
ठीक है, model city of India क्या है, sir? In your field, which is the model city of India?
So one is Jamshedpur, which the Tatas ran, and only that portion of Jamshedpur which the Tatas ran very well.
Because it was planned before being built.
Yes, because a lot of the services were taken care of and it was built, and all the services were thought through. The second...
But what's happening there? What's exactly?
The water supply is very robust and everybody gets water in that part of the city, and they are assured of sewage connections and they'll be taken care of. So, and it's done fairly transparently. Now, I don't know. I would pick Bangalore itself as one of the best cities. Doing reasonably well with the challenges it has of getting water from 100 kilometers away, 300 meters below the city. This was the first city to set up a separate body called the BWSSB, Water Supply and Storage Board, in 1964 to think and deliver this kind of systems that the city needs. And the kind of imagination I was telling you about getting water to farmers is being shown by Bangalore. So good in parts, bad in parts, but this is what...
No, that's why I love this conversation, because the idea was that the problems of Bangalore, but the point is that it is actually relatively doing much better than seems like, than other cities. Model city in the world? Where do we have the best systems that we can take some inspiration
You
for?
can pick any city in Finland, and that's the best. Australia does reasonably well. Singapore is always touted as a model. Stockholm is one of the good cities. The Scandinavian cities are all good. Denmark, for example, Copenhagen, depends completely on groundwater and does very well. They all come from the developed world. From a developing world context, it's Phnom Penh, Cambodia capital.
Okay.
That's doing very well thanks to the institution they created and how they worked on it. To some extent, Manila does very well because it tried a form of privatization and a half of the city with the government, the state-led thing, which worked reasonably well for that kind of a city. So there are these examples. But pilots never fail and pilots never scale.
But pilots need to be done.
Pilots then get so invested in terms of effort, money, and ideas that they are success stories always. They generally don't fail. But then to replicate all that went into making that pilot makes it difficult to scale. So each city will have to find its own answer for its own contextual problem.
That's what I was discussing with you before we started, right? That I come from Chandigarh.
बिल्कुल
And इतनी सारी चीजें अच्छी हैं, but ultimately the argument is कि 15 किलोमीटर का diameter है,
बिल्कुल
right? तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि यार मोहाली में भी replicate कर लो, पंचकुला में भी कर लो, like at least surrounding areas में तो कर लो, but it's
impossible. Very difficult, let's say. Not impossible, very difficult. The density of population in Mohali, the population itself of Mohali would be bigger than that of Chandigarh and the surrounds area. And it's an informal population which is unplanned. And so part of the unplanned city becomes a problem for getting water and sanitation systems. That's also a challenge.
What's your role, sir?
So what we do is to demonstrate at various scales what solutions are and then persuade the government to come take a look at it and say, can you please replicate it? So when we do something in Devanhalli, we say that you can do this over the 240 towns in Karnataka. So we bring the Karnataka Urban Water Supply Drainage Board, we take the BWSSB, show them that and say, why don't you do it for the 186 lakes of Bangalore? Why don't you do it for other towns? We won't do it. We don't have the bandwidth to do it, but you can do it if you think that it's logical. And here's the pathway to do it. Then,
is it happening?
No. So they don't say no, but it takes some time for them to accept that groundwater can be a source of water, for example. But it's a slow act of persuasion and patience for which you have to take blood pressure pills so that your blood pressure is under control. You don't stress yourself, and then you keep a smile on your face and you play the patience game. So then what we do is to work with the state to say, how can the state accommodate this and take it forward? I'll just give you one success story with that. We did a program here in Bangalore called the Million Wells Program. We're running it. We're actually saying that the well diggers of Bangalore can be the solution to Bangalore's water shortage by digging 1 million wells to harvest rainwater and push it into the aquifer, where they make a livelihood.
कुएं बना रहे हो?
कुएं बना रहे हैं, recharge wells. और कुएं खोदने वाले बना रहे हैं. There's a community called the Manu Addars who've been digging wells for 1,000 years. So we make sure that they get enough work so that they do this work through communication and rainwater.
कहाँ बनेंगे ये?
सब घरों में बन रहे हैं. 3 लाख बन गए हैं.
घरों में,
अपार्टमेंट में, इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, कबन पार्क में, लालबाग में, सब जगह बन रहे हैं. 3 लाख कुएं बन गए हैं, रिचार्ज वेल्स. 3 लाख. So this program was seen by the Government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and us and a group called Aquadam in Pune, we both were invited to see how it could be scaled up to 10 cities. We did a pilot in 10 cities. Now the government is putting through Amrut monies to take it to 75 cities. So we work with all the local bodies of those 75 cities with the NIUA, the National Institute for Urban Affairs, and make sure that it happens in those 75 cities as a demonstration to say what you can do with your lakes, wastewater and groundwater to be able to be more water secure. तो ये रोल है हमारा कैटलिस्ट का, सबके साथ काम करना, गवर्नमेंट के साथ भी काम करना, गवर्नमेंट को गाली देना लेकिन उनके साथ काम करना कि क्या होता है, गाली देना इन द सेंस टू critique them to take it forward. ये काम है.
So you're like consultants. You make pilots which can be scaled up.
I'm not a consultant because a consultant then becomes somebody to be hired. So I'm an advisor or a mentor.
So you're working with the other governments apart from?
I sit on the technical committee of the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board.
Okay.
To a part of the technical approval of certain level of projects which they take up. I sit on the technical committee of the Jal Jeevan Mission of the Government of Karnataka. So all the rural supply projects, we have a say in how it should be formulated, how it should be implemented. So I do that role. I used to teach at the Azim Premji University, a course called Water to students of public policy and development. So the students become aware of the challenges that India have, including the Punjab challenge, and see how the students can then grapple with it when they go into their careers. That's something that I've done. I used to write for the Hindu, a weekly column called Water Wise. For 12 years I wrote, trying to sensitize citizens as to what their role is in making water sustainable. तो तरह तरह के काम किए हैं.
आप जो कर रहे हैं उसी को 100x करने के लिए क्या चाहिए होगा? Like let's not depend on government or when you work with the
So
government, but
what
I'm just saying.
I believe is scale is a difficult thing to grapple with.
So
But
only the state should do it.
no,
Can do it.
no. Everybody can be part of the solution, and everybody. So
Hmm.
when we say 1,000,000 wells, the solution is that there are 750 well diggers who can do it and
Hmm.
earn an income for the family. They're all doing their livelihood. They now have cards, Facebook pages, and they're making marketing themselves and showing
Very
videos.
nice. Very nice.
So we triggered them and we showed them the path कि ये आप कर सकते हो, and now they have the confidence that they're not simply digging a pit in the ground, but they're providing water to the city,
Hmm.
no, as a metropolis. So what is needed is triggering a million people to think they can become part of the solution and getting that going. So replicability, no,
Hmm.
become the person that others would try to emulate. Empower them, mentor them so that they take off to the extent possible, not to any other extent.
नहीं, but good thing is that आपने मेरे को थोड़ा सा ऐसा बोला है कि things are improving. पिछले साल से तो हम better situation में हैं.
हाँ,
Things are being worked on. Community initiatives भी हैं, government भी काम कर रही है और आप भी हैं. तो
हाँ, नहीं, हम तो हैं ही. नहीं, पर एक क्या हो गया ना, एक माहौल ऐसा बन गया है कि in which all our institutions are demoralized. If you go to the BWSSB, they themselves don't feel confident that they're capable of addressing the problem of the city. Right?
that has never been spoken about. 2 मिनट और बात करो इस पे.
बिल्कुल.
क्योंकि हम तो गाली निकालते हैं.
सभी लोग
लेकिन-
गाली निकालते हैं. कोई भी है ऐसा गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन जिसकी तारीफ हो जाए, बहुत कम है. और हम प्रॉब्लम्स जब फेस करते हैं, हमारा गटर ओवरफ्लो हो रहा है, पानी नहीं आ रहा है, तो फ़ोन लगाएंगे. लेकिन यदि अच्छा पानी आया या रेगुलर आया तो हम सोचते नहीं है कि वो काबिल तारीफ है.
करेक्ट.
तो हम एक बना दिए. तो वो बेचारे अब ऐसे सिचुएशन में हैं कि इनके पास जो फ़ोन आता है वो गाली वाला फ़ोन आता है या फिर डिमांड वाला फ़ोन आता है. उनके पास मेंटल पीस नहीं है और समाज सोचती है कि ये करप्ट भी हैं. तो वो क्यों पॉजिटिव सोचेंगे और क्या करेंगे पॉजिटिव? And so we have to really worry about the kind of institutions and institutional atmosphere we are creating and the morale we are building. क्योंकि आपका आर्मी तैयार नहीं होगा, आपकी टीम पक्की नहीं होगी, तो आप कौन सा जंग जीतोगे या कौन सा मैच जीतोगे?
ये किसका काम है सर? ये हमारा काम तो नहीं है ना कि हम उसके
ये-
ताड़ियां मारे अभी.
ये समाज का एटलीस्ट सोचने वालों का काम है कि हम हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस को कैसे तैयार कर रहे हैं. आपका पानी का प्रॉब्लम तभी सॉल्व होगा जब BWSSB बैंगलोर में, जब BWSSB तैयार होगी उसके लिए सॉल्व करने के लिए. राइट? हम समझते हैं कि वो तैयार है, पर वो तैयार है?
सर जो मैंने शुरू में बात की थी, क्या वो वैलिड है? दैट शुड यू अपलॉड समवन फॉर डूइंग देयर वर्क, और एम आई बीइंग एंड सेइंग कि मतलब ये बात बोल रहा हूँ कि मतलब मेरे को सर काम करने की, तो मतलब अगर कुछ मैंने
नहीं,
ज़्यादा
तो आप अपलॉड ना करें. पोस्टमैन आके चिट्ठी दे दिया, जो ताली बजा रहे हो, ताली वाली और कुछ और के लिए बजाए थे हमने. पर ये हमें सोचना पड़ेगा एक समाज में रह के कि हमारी जो संस्थाएं हैं वो किस काबिल हैं और क्या वो जैसे वेल राउंडेड है कि नहीं. या आपको एक उदाहरण दिया कि if you don't have hydrogeologists in your institution, then groundwater doesn't exist for you as a solution. है ही नहीं. If you don't have wastewater reuse specialists, then wastewater reuse doesn't exist for you. But if you have dam people, then dam is the solution for every problem. ये संस्था की दृष्टिकोण पे निर्भर है कि वो कैसे समझे समस्या को और उसका परिहार कैसे निकाले. It's a complex problem. It has to be figured out, but the solutions are simple.
Yeah.
Once you get
Yeah.
the team ready, once the pitch is all Dubai, then your chances of victory are higher. ये बताओगे तो भी गाली खाओगे. But the pitch needs preparation and the team needs preparation, and then you can face.
मैं पूछता रहता हूँ, सोचता रहता हूँ कि who will become the Doge of India, in the sense कि हर एक डिपार्टमेंट के पास एक ऐसे प्राइवेट वो आ जाना चाहिए,
Doge-
which has the power to make decisions also, which is adept at taking. वो ठीक है, now you can debate कि अच्छा होगा बुरा होगा, maybe he becomes a liability to the government itself or whatever, but things are moving, right? When things move, some of them will move in the right direction and some of them will move
like
the
the
wrong.
Dow Jones is moving in the right direction and the
सर कुछ तो अच्छा हो रहा होगा ना. मैं भी बोल रहा हूँ कि जब
ठीक है.
जब मेजोरिटी होती है जब पार्लियामेंट में,
हाँ.
तो इतना तो होता है ना कि बिल पास हो रहे हैं, अब 10 में से 7 सही होंगे, 3 खराब होंगे, बट थिंग्स आर मूविंग, दे आर नॉट इन अ लिम्बो, देयर हैज टू बी ओके। व्हाट इज योर थॉट ऑन प्राइवेट प्राइवेट सेक्टर पार्टिसिपेशन इन गवर्नमेंट? वो जो लैटरल एंट्रीज है, कंसल्टेंट्स है, एक्सपर्टीज है, वो इतना इंकरेज नहीं किया जाता है गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, जैसे अब पानी में भी आप ले लो, पानी को आप प्राइवेटाइज मत करो, बट सुएज कलेक्शन, ट्रीटमेंट एंड रीयूज को पूरा प्राइवेटाइज कर देना चाहिए, because it has no consequence on water is a human right, so you need to take care of it a bit carefully, but you need to do that. But I'll tell you what happens in all this, in this business of the government being too many people and all that, which is the imagination that we have. What happened is the World Bank came in 2003 or 4 in Bangalore, took a look at number of employees per number of connections, and said Bangalore is way high, stop employing, stop recruiting. They put an employee freeze at a critical time when the city started to explode in growth. So the World Bank didn't look at the future needs of the city. Nobody ever expected it to be 4.
But how is World Bank taking that decision? Or
because they were, we don't have money, so we applied for them for a loan. It was called the Greater Bangalore Water and Sanitation Program. So they came in, they did an institutional analysis, and they said,
is that employee to meter ratio?
Employee to number of connections ratio. तो पानी के 1000 कनेक्शन के लिए 1 एम्प्लॉय होना चाहिए, 1000 या 1500। तो वो उन्होंने बोला ना ना ना, तुम तो बहुत सारे लोग हो, तो फ्रीज कर दो 1500 पे। बट दे could never imagine what pressures were there for the future. So what now you've done with the institution is, for every lousy design you made it dependent on consultants. छोटा सा नाला खोदना होगा तो कंसल्टेंट आएगा डिजाइन करने के लिए, एग्जीक्यूशन इज बाय अ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर। तो तुम बैठे क्यों? All you're doing is the broker's job of getting design, tendering it out, getting somebody to do it. And in the business, you're not deploying any of your skills or upgrading your skills, right? So that's an institutional failure caused by an efficiency imagination, which didn't look at future modeling and what could be the demand placed on it. बहुत सारी चीजें, तो Doge is a bull in a China shop.
So अगर किसी को whoever is watching this आपके साथ जुड़ना है तो क्या करना चाहिए?
दूर रहे मेरे से, मेरे मित्रों से बात करें, आके देखे कि क्या है प्रोजेक्ट्स, और वो अपना मन बनाए। ये है कि मैं गुरु नहीं हूँ, ना बनने वाला हूँ, ना मेरे पास कोई सोल्यूशन।
गुरु नहीं, एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिसको मैं ज्वाइन करके कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट कर।
नहीं, आप खाली पढ़ लो ना, आप, हमारा वेबसाइट है, हमारा फेसबुक पेज है, लिंक्डइन पेज में हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं, और ऑल द पीपल हु आर पार्ट ऑफ आवर सोल्यूशन, देयर नंबर्स विल बी देयर, एंड सो यू directly talk to those people and figure out what it is, and you chart your own journey, right? आप अपना गूगल मैप में डेस्टिनेशन डालो, आप चलो निकलो, मेरे डेस्टिनेशन पे मत आओ।
आपका डेस्टिनेशन नहीं सर, आपके काम के साथ जुड़ के
मैं ये सिखाऊंगा कि डीप सी को कैसे डाउनलोड किया जाए और उसको कैसे यूज किया जाए, या वैसे गूगल मैप को भी कैसे डाउनलोड किया जाए, और क्या डेस्टिनेशन हो सकता है। मैं ये ख्वाब दिखाऊंगा कि क्या हो सकता है, हमारा तालाब, हमारे नदियाँ, हमारे पानी का सिस्टम, ये मैं आपको दिखा दूंगा, बस आप चलो।
So but there is no formal platform that you've built where people can come and support?
No, unfortunately, it's ours is a very small group, and we want to keep it small. We don't want to make it large because we lose control over when things become large. We want to be meaningful. So a lot of people who have joined me have come from Infosys, for example. Have given up lucrative jobs and joined some dirt cheap organization which doesn't give them anything at all, and you get peanuts. But they're committed to a cause, and they work for a year or two, and then they go off and they start their own companies, they start their own organizations and go. That's the way it is. So हमारे पास कोई एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड फार्मूला नहीं है जिससे मैं किसी को सिखाऊं या पढ़ाऊं या आगे ले जाऊं, ये नहीं है हमारे पास।
And what's the value of money in your life?
Money is critical. You must have enough to lead a comfortable life where you're not dependent on another, but it should not become an obsession.
So you have enough money?
There's never enough money, but there's enough, like Gandhiji used to say, there's enough for your need, there's not enough for your greed. You have to yourself draw that line between need and greed, but you have to feel secure financially for you to be able to have the peace of mind and the lack of any mental stress, so that you're able to work confidently and be able to deliver to community. So you must have enough money with which you're comfortable with, and you must be very strategic and very structured about how you have to have those savings and those monies for you to work. इंडिया में बोलते हैं कि सरस्वती या लक्ष्मी दोनों में एक चॉइस बनाना पड़ता है करके, मेरे हिसाब से दोनों को भी थोड़ा थोड़ा इन्वाइट करते रहना पड़ेगा, एंड दे शुड both play an important role in what you become as a person.
Thank you so much, sir. what is driving you?
What is driving me? I don't know whether I should say it on a podcast, but Old Monk on Friday night.